What's up? It's DreadCode, and this week I wanted to talk about starting your dreadlocks. When I looked on Instagram, I saw that a lot of people were starting their dreadlocks. A lot of people had questions, and I guess it's just that time of the year. I know that my 1 year just passed, so start off with the most basic question. Who can have dreadlocks? Who are dreadlocks for? A lot of people do it for spiritual reasons, for their religion, the journey. Dreadlocks, honestly, are for anyone who has hair, for anyone who wants dreadlocks, and whoever has the patience for them. A lot of people are gonna say, well, you can't have dreadlocks because you're this race, you can't have dreadlocks because you think this, you're not this, you're not that. Don't listen to them. If you want dreadlocks, you can get them. Getting dreadlocks is really easy. I mean, you don't have to do anything to your hair, essentially. You can honestly just wash your hair and not brush it, and it will lock eventually. That's what some people do in the community. It's called neglect, or just freeform dreadlocks. It takes a lot of patience. They're not going to lock up for a long time. From what I can tell, you can kind of start seeing them lock up by 3 months, but they're not going to look like uniform. All of them are going to have their own unique style, and no one dreadlock is the same with that. There are other ways to get dreadlocks. You can back comb it, where it's just knotting up your hair, and it will eventually lock. That's what I did with mine. It takes a long time. It's really hard on the scalp. My scalp was hurting for about a week after. My sister that did my dreadlocks, her arm was hurting all night after she did them. She said she was in pain waking up all night, and it just hurt up and down her arm. Then there's twist and rip, where it's essentially like clumsily braiding your hair, where you just twist it and you rip it. It's exactly how it sounds. So I don't know much about that. I know that they don't shrink right away, that it takes a while to shrink compared to back combing, since back combing you're already losing a lot of length. With twist and rip, you still have some of your length, and then it shrinks over time. And I know there's a bunch of other methods. There's crocheting and just like different weird methods that people do. If you're thinking about going to a professional or a hairstylist, loctician to do your dreadlocks, you have to be very careful with that. Like I said, my sister did my dreadlocks, and she's never done dreadlocks before. I did research for a month or two prior to her doing my dreadlocks, and I looked at all the videos. I read all the forums for starter dreadlocks to see what would be the best thing. And there is a big scare about hairstylists who didn't know what they were doing. And I took that as, okay, well, I'm going to get my inexperienced sister to do it for me, and I'll do it with her since I'm researching it. I would say that if you're going to go to a loctician, make sure that you do your research on them. Ask them if they've ever done dreadlocks before. Ask to see pictures of the people that have dreadlocks from them. The big question for most people is, how expensive is dreadlocks going to be? It doesn't have to be that expensive. It started kind of getting expensive with me. A lot of people who get dreadlocks get freaked out, feel like they have to have every product, and that's just not the case. At first it might get a little bit expensive, just trying to see what products will work well with your hair. But honestly, with all the dread products I have, I didn't use most of them. With these products, I got these right before, or right when I did get dreads. I got these two products. I got a locking gel and Lock Row, which I don't know the difference. I guess one of them stimulates root growth, and the other one maintains the locks, and it has a long-lasting hold. And this is for twisting, so I've never twisted my dreads before, so I don't know why I got this. But if you can see, you can't see because it's clear, but I haven't used a lot of it. It's still filled up. This one's green. I know it has like menthol in it or something, but I mean, I haven't really used any, and I don't plan on using these. But it's just a waste of money. Honestly, I have all these products. I have biotin for my hair that I barely even use anymore. I have essential oils, coconut oil. Honestly, the biggest products that I use are the cheapest. I use baking soda a lot. I use apple cider vinegar a lot. I make my own sea salt spray with sea salt and lemon, and sometimes essential oils. For the most part, I use Dr. Bronner's. It just, once when you know what products that you like, it gets a lot cheaper. But I would say don't feed into the Dreadlock name brand products unless they work for you. I mean, you don't have to use Naughty Boy, you don't have to use Dreadhead HQ, you don't have to use Dreadlocks, you don't have to use any of that. It's really up to your hair, it's up to your scalp, but it's up to you. If you want to go expensive, and if Naughty Boy is really good for you, then go for it. I mean, I've always wanted to try their products. I know that they work extremely well, but I just figure, why would I waste so much money on a shampoo bar if I can just get it for $5 at a store that works really well for me. I don't even want to show you guys how much shampoos I have of trying each one. And honestly, the best shampoo method that I've ever used is just baking soda and water and just soaking it once a week. It cleaned everything out that your hair can get very dry from that, so I stopped doing that. Another thing to talk about is wax. Wax is such a big deal for dreadlocks and dreadlock communities and people with dreadlock. It's just like, it's the most controversial topic for dreadlocks besides crocheting. And it's because, I mean, it can either make you or break you, basically. I don't really think there's an in-between for that. People who started using wax, then they stopped using wax, saying that it was the worst mistake that they've ever made for their dreadlocks. Other people say it's the best thing that ever happened, you just need to use it right. I think it's really just up to your hair and up to you. I mean, if you feel like it's the best thing for your dreadlocks, then go for it. Gels and the waxes never worked for me. I know that my hair is extremely tight and extremely dense, and it will keep the wax inside the shaft, so I'm not even going to try for the fear of wax staying in there and mold growing and residue, and it's just too scary of a concept for me to even try wax. You don't need wax per se. It keeps your flyaways down, and I mean, if I were to have an opinion put into it, I feel like stay away from wax unless you have dreadlock friends who know what they're doing, or people to where you can see the method of wax that they put into their dreadlocks, and if they look good, they smell good, they wash good, go for it. But if it's not working for you, stop trying to make it work. It's not gonna happen. Biggest question that people see once when they see, okay, I started my dreadlocks, when are they going to start looking good? Why do they look poofy? Why don't they look like dreadlocks yet? It's because they aren't dreadlocks yet. You're just giving your hair the environment for them to lock in. More specifically, with backcombing, when you're backcombing, it's not dreadlock, it's just knotted hair. You're creating the environment for it to tighten, for it to shrink, and for the roots to grow out into dreadlocks. That's why when your starter dreads, when they tighten and they lock, they are rock hard until it grows out. And it sucks, it takes a while, but that's just how it is. You need patience with dreadlocks in that form. So when will they start looking good? It can range from anywhere from the earliest, the very, very earliest 3 months, to like a year and a half at the latest. Mine didn't stop locking until I was about 7 or 8 months, and it sucked. And for the most part, I just I hid them. I kept them in beanies. I just try to make them look as good as possible. I made all these beanies. I learned how to crochet specifically for my dreadlocks, and I just made dread tubes, tams, and beanies, and I made a lot of them. I just had a lot of free time. Okay, so after that, the biggest question is, after talking about shrinkage, is, well, what is shrinking? Can I prevent it from happening? And the answer is, like, no, you can't. It's just bound to happen. Your hair is going to shrink, and it depends on what type of hair you have, or just the method that you used, or any how fast it's going to shrink is if you're going to keep your length. And I know it sucks, especially if you grew out your hair for dreadlocks specifically and it's long and you love it and you got dreadlocks and you're like, yes, they're long, and then they shrink within 3 months. They're half the length, you're pissed, they're bulky, you don't know what to do. You can't avoid it. It's gonna happen. Your hair, once when it shrinks up, it's hard. And you're wondering, is my roots going to grow into dreadlocks? Why is there space in my roots? There's going to be space between your dreadlock and your scalp. That's just loose hair, but that loose hair is going to knot up. Once when it starts growing out more, you can keep locking. You can keep doing methods to make sure that it locks really good by root rubbing, palm rolling. But it's going to lock up either way. If you just let it grow, it will lock up. If you just keep your scalp clean, it should just do it by itself. Comment down below on any questions that you have, any tips that you have for starting dreadlocks, or people who are thinking about starting dreadlocks, people who have dreadlocks that don't know what to do. Comment down below, leave advice, leave questions, concerns, comments, like, favorite, subscribe. And I will see you guys next week.